Welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for this academic explainer on a truly fascinating area of English grammar. Today's deep dive is based directly on the foundational document, TEMA 26 Notebook LM.pdf, which explores the expression of condition and hypothesis in English. Now, as a linguistics professor, I can tell you that this topic represents one of the most sophisticated intersections of syntax, semantics, and pragmatics you will ever encounter. We are going to look at how speakers use language not just to state dry facts, but to bend reality, navigate uncertainty, and establish incredibly strict logical contingencies. Okay, let's dive into this syllabus. We're going to look at logical contingency, direct and indirect conditions, subordinate and structural types, open and hypothetical conditions, rhetorical and alternative clauses, and finally wrap it up with our academic sources and conclusions.
Section 1. Introduction to Logical Contingency, the foundation of conditional clauses.
So what exactly is a conditional clause? At its core, it's a grammatical structure signaling that the situation in the matrix clause, which is the main part of your sentence, is entirely contingent or dependent on the subordinate clause being fulfilled. Think about it like this. If the weather is fine, then we'll have a barbecue. The actual occurrence of the barbecue, our matrix clause, completely relies on that weather condition being met. No fine weather, no barbecue. Modern linguistics often highlights these relationships by looking at conjuncts like then or in that case. It is a strict logical dependency. Section 2. Direct and indirect conditions. Adjuncts versus style disjuncts.
Modern linguistics heavily relies on binary categorizations, and this brilliantly illustrates the divide between what we say and how we say it. With the direct condition, the if clause functions as an adjunct. It's establishing a direct predictive relationship. Take the sentence, if you put the baby down, she'll scream. There is a crystal clear cause and effect framework right there. But then, look at the indirect condition. Here, the if clause acts as a style disjunct. The condition isn't about the real-world situation at all. It's about the speech act itself. If someone says, she's far too considerate, if I may say so, the assertion that she's considerate doesn't suddenly become untrue if the speaker lacks permission. Instead, that if I may say so is simply a condition of politeness. It's a metalinguistic comment wrapping the sentence in social awareness.
Section 3. Subordinates and structural types. Beyond if and unless. While if and unless are absolute go-to tools, English actually employs a vast array of complex subordinators to add distinct semantic nuance. When we drop in as long as or so long as, we're really emphasizing a strict prerequisite or duration. Assuming that or supposing that deliberately sets the stage for a hypothetical premise, almost like we're inviting a debate. Provided that bumps up the register, right? It suggests a formal, almost legal stipulation. And in case, prepares the listener for a future contingency. Each of these structures precisely tunes the exact nature of the condition we are setting up. Section 4. Open and hypothetical conditions, resolving certainty and expectation. Now we're moving into the fundamental semantic distinction of English conditionals. Here we see the contrast so clearly. An open condition is completely neutral. It leaves reality totally unresolved. If I say, if Colin is in London, he is undoubtedly staying at the Hilton, I literally do not know if Colin is in London. The outcome is entirely uncertain. A hypothetical condition, however, is heavily loaded with speaker belief. It implies the probable or absolute falsity of the matrix proposition. By using a hypothetical condition, the speaker is signaling to you that the condition is contrary to expectation, contrary to assumption, or frankly, completely contrary to fact. So the crucial point is how we actually execute this shift from open to hypothetical grammatically, and we do it through a strict rule called back-shifting verb tenses. For present and future hypothetical references, we shift backward to the past tense in the if clause, and we use a past modal, usually would, in the matrix clause. Think about it. Shifting from if the team can win to if the team could win completely changes the expectation of success into an expectation of failure. And if we are referring to the past, we must use the past perfective in both clauses. If you had listened to me, that tells us the situation is unequivocally contrary to fact. You didn't listen. Section 5. Rhetorical and alternative clauses. Strong assertions and overlapping concepts. I want you to ponder this statement for a moment. If they're Irish, I'm the Pope. This is a rhetorical conditional. Structurally, it looks exactly like an open condition, but semantically, it's a fiercely strong assertion. By pairing a conditional clause with a matrix clause that is patently, obviously absurd, like I'm the Pope, The speaker is forcefully asserting that the conditional clause itself is absolutely false. We are literally using grammatical logic to highlight an absurdity.
Now let's see how this builds into alternative conditional concessive clauses. These are super interesting because they create a conceptual overlap. By using the correlative sequence whether or, we're combining the conditional meaning of if with the disjunctive choice of either or. So if I say whether Martin pays for the vase or he replaces it, I'm not inviting him again. The matrix situation, not inviting Martin, applies under two completely contrasting conditions. It's a condition merged seamlessly with a concession.
Section 6, Academic Sources and Conclusions. The theoretical scaffolding. Any rigorous academic explainer must rest upon foundational frameworks. The intricate rules we've just analyzed don't exist in a vacuum. They were codified by seminal linguists. We're talking about texts like Quirk, Greenbaum, Leach, and Svartvik's A Comprehensive Grammar of the English Language, Biber's Longman Grammar, Huddleston's Introduction, and Downing and Locke's University Course. These works provide the rigorous taxonomy we've utilized today, and they are the essential bedrocks for anyone truly mastering English syntax. As the conclusion of our source document, Tema 26 perfectly summarizes, conditional and hypothetical expressions in English represent a sophisticated intersection of syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. And that really hits the nail on the head. Mastering conditionals isn't just about memorizing verb charts. It requires dynamically navigating uncertainty, projecting social politeness, and executing complex counterfactual reasoning on the fly. I am going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Given its remarkable power to dictate strict logical contingency, gently mask social politeness, and completely rewrite reality into hypothetical timelines, is if the most structurally complex word in the English language? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it leaves you eager to pay close attention to the intricate, invisible architecture of the conditionals you use every single day. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.